So our next speaker, this small town country girl with a rock and roll heart, has manifested all kinds of stuff, from freedom and love to hairbrushes and combs. She has been called many things. Her friends call her Sunshine. She's the fudge brownie queen in her hometown. Her grandsons call her Oma, and some just call her Lucky. Today she's author, blogger, publisher, empowerment coach, Deena Kordt.
Who gave me the ow? Is everybody having fun?
Yeah.
I start my timer here. Oh, well, you have to come visit me to get fudge. I know I still owe you a butterscotch pie. I heard it was her favorite, and I'm like, one is going to show up someday. That was pre-COVID. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I want to know if any of you have any resolutions that you made at the beginning of the year. Only Noreen? Everybody's got a few goals. Okay, more on the goal side. How are those going for you? Oh, good. Okay, good job. Have you gotten to a point where you're ready to give up? You have to start.
Can't give up yet.
I gave up even making them because I just was tired of, and that's maybe why a lot of you haven't made resolutions.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to work on today. I'm going to start with a confession and a disclaimer. The confession is pretty obvious. I love color. The disclaimer is I also love colorful language. So,
Yes.
you slipped some in early, so thank you for breaking the ice on that. I just want to set that tone, because if something slips out, as you can probably tell by the cover of my book, there's an expletive on the cover, so it might get a little bit colorful. Now, while you're finding the spot in the workbook and a pen for the Make It Happen, that's my portion. I'm going to tell you a quick little story. This happened to me last week. I had bought a ticket to a networking meeting, a networking event. I was so pumped, I was so ready. I had my elevator speech, 30 seconds. I got up in the morning early, got my hair all curled, put on something other than yoga pants, and on my way to town I'm rehearsing this little elevator speech, because there's going to be 40-some people, about this crowd, and everybody gets that amount of time to introduce themselves. I've got this nailed. I pull up to the event, get out, go to the door. There is not a single freaking soul there. I check my 2 emails, one from a month ago when I bought the ticket, and one from a couple days prior. Let's see, here's the day, here's the time, here's the place. Check, check, check. I'm here. Where the hell is everybody else?
Yeah.
The way I reacted to that was this: shock, confused, frustrated, angry, pissed off, personally hurt in about 0.24 seconds. I had hit a freaking wall. Now, it didn't really need to be a wall. We've talked about, there's a couple of the others that mentioned walls and bumps that we can come up against. But to me, in that moment, the imposter syndrome and the clear proof that I didn't belong enough for anybody to let me know that the venue had changed. Granted, these people didn't know me. I also, embarrassingly enough, at this point, realized that all those emails for the contacts I could find of who was attending had received an email from me pre-introducing myself saying, "I'm going to be there, I'm so excited to meet you." And now I can't. That's not how I roll. If I say I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. And now I'm powerless, and I have no way to know how to deal with this. So I did what probably all of you have done. I decided I'll just do something else, I'll go run errands. I'll pull out my trusty old mask. You know, the one with the big smile painted on it, you all have one. Put it on, go run errands, everybody sees a happy, smiley face. Really, truthfully, I wanted to go home and crawl back in my pajamas, under the covers, and bawl for the rest of the day. I get some texts from friends, hey, how's your day going? Yeah, pretty good. Smile slips a little bit. And then I get a text from my partner, Kyle, and he says, hey, how's your day? How'd that meeting go? Well, that smile's pretty much gone. I'm like, meh. He saw through that. Meh? What happened? Blah, 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 blah. Big old rant. Okay, that felt better just to tell somebody. And he said, ooh, that's gotta hurt. That really sucks. I'm so sorry that happened to you. I said, I feel so invisible. I feel just totally unimportant. Well, you don't feel invisible to me. You're very important to me. Okay, that felt good. I get home, I look in the mirror. What's looking back? A mask, one that's hit a wall, again. It's cracked, it's falling apart. I try and fix it with gum, but there's so much like duct tape and crazy glue on it. It's time to look at the mirror without the mask. And it kind of hurts. It's like, how come I reacted so strongly to this? It wasn't a personal rejection of me. It was just a little glitch in the registration system. But it told me where I am in my journey. I was ready to give up. I'm like, fine then. You don't want me at your meeting? Fine. But that's really not how it felt. It hurt. And that was a bump. Now, can anybody relate to that? We've all hit bumps, we've hit walls. The path probably isn't the same as what I had. Those walls can come up when you expect them sometimes, and you're thinking, oh, I can maybe avoid it, I can maybe bounce off it, but those walls still come up. And how we react to those really tells us where we are. So, let me see, check my notes. It tells us where we are in our journey. Okay, the journey is our purpose, our growth, our healing, and our self-love. So when we feel rejection, that tells you how you're feeling, how resilient you are towards yourself. Especially when you look in the mirror and you're more critical than others are criticizing. And many times, like we found in our community, it's that criticizing is with love. But are we always criticizing ourselves with love and creating that space? We've been introduced to some very powerful tools from the other ladies that have talked to us today. And they're powerful tools that teach us how to serve others. But the same as when you are a mother or a friend, the way that you are in that relationship is a reflection of what you have to give. And as women, I think we give to the point that we're so depleted and we're so empty and we're almost burnt out, or we are burnt out, that we actually end up resentful, or we'll say no to things that in the past we really would have liked to say yes to. I was going to give an example, but I'll have tears. I'm going to introduce you guys to a couple of people that you know. And you maybe haven't talked to them in a while, but they're always with you. And as soon as we start, you're going to know who I'm talking about. So if you can find your spot in the book at the big square, big empty square, and find your pens. Can everybody raise their dominant hand, please? Okay, you're not going to need that for this first part. Why don't you put the pen in your non-dominant hand? See where I'm going with this? Anybody? Anybody done this before? We don't want to serve from an empty space. We don't want to just quit when we hit those bumps and walls. And there's a couple of people that can help us face those when we do get there. These two people have a different mask for you. It's an oxygen mask. And they're going to remind you that that oxygen mask that we hear in that analogy all the time, to put it on yourself first, they're going to remind you why it's important. And even if you aren't doing it for yourself, you're going to do it for them. Now in that square, I want you to use your non-dominant hand, and please draw a picture of yourself when you were 4, 5, 6, whatever significant age, maybe it's 10 or 12. Think about that little girl and draw a picture of her, stick figure picture, the way she'd have drawn it around that age. And while you're doing it, really put yourself back in that age. Think about who she was. Was she adventurous, curious? Was she maybe terrified? Was she exuberant? She didn't care what she said. Who was she? Just connect with her. And sometimes this isn't easy. The first time I did it, I was pretty emotional actually, because I had ignored her for so long. She was forgiving of that. She welcomed me, but she really felt neglected. There had been some significant external factors that had contributed to that as well. And the mask that I wore for many years of my life, I felt I needed for safety and obscurity and visibility, and I don't need that anymore. So it's made me really appreciate connecting with that younger self. I'm going to get you to do something a little bit awkward and cringy, because that's what we like to do when we're pushing our comfort zone. We're all going to say hello to that little girl out loud on the count of 3. I'm going to say hello, Deena, and I'd like you to really think about her. You don't have to, but I don't want to do it all by myself. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello, Deena. What messages does she have for you? You think there's anything that she'd like to tell you when she's looking at you now, from her perspective? Does she want you to maybe say no more often, or have fun, or say yes more often? Or don't give up. Please don't give up. We're doing what we always wanted to do. Or have you forgotten about how much you used to enjoy doing whatever? Don't give up. Maybe she's just so proud of you. Okay, now I'd like you to switch over to your dominant hand. And on page 2, I'm getting ahead of myself. Page 1, where it says hello, go ahead and put your name. Jot down any notes just bullet points if you want, if there's anything that came to mind that you'd like to go back and fill this out more when you get home. What are some thoughts that came to mind? What are some things that you think about her? You can later, if you want, to go back. I've had people do whole stick families in this exercise, so if you'd like to add a special person that you can put bullies if you want, but I don't recommend it. You want to find people that were supportive, that were really special to you, that made you feel very loved and accepted, because you want to remember those voices, especially when you hit bumps and walls and feel like giving up and you feel unimportant or unloved. And then we'll go to the next page and use your dominant hand. And close your eyes. And who do you think the next person is I'm going to introduce you to? Anybody have a guess? Future self. Yes. Okay, this woman is amazing. She is so confident. She's powerful. She's accomplished. She's successful. She's fascinating. She's wise. She's pretty cool. And she has just stepped into the room. What do you think she has for a message for you, looking back? Write whatever notes you'd like. Describe her. What do you see? Do you have a question for her? Does she have a message for you? Jot those down, think about it at home. She might be 20 years down the road, 30, 45, 10, just whatever first comes to mind. And then go ahead and explore that further, like all those different years when it comes up in the future. Do either of them have a mask on? That little girl was probably learning about masks, about not showing her true self or her feelings. She was already probably starting to make that little mask and go, I'm supposed to have a big smile on this. You know, don't cry. It's not that bad. Those types of things. How about when the bullies would pick on her and she would try and be tough? It's just an example. When did you start creating those masks to deal with the bumps and the things in your road? How about that future self? Has she learned to live life without a mask? Has she learned how to be filled and be able to serve, whether it's in your personal life or your business life, from a place that isn't so empty? I'm guessing that she has no mask. No? Do you want to share? No? We can do that later. Now that you've opened up these conversations with these two, and you remember that they're with you, expect that these little, you're going to get little nudges, you're going to get little whispers once in a while, you might see some signs, just to remind you that they're there, that you guys are a team. They're the only ones you will spend every moment of your entire life with. So be friends. Don't look back and think, that little kid was so weird. Or, if I keep giving up or I keep pivoting, Shannon, you shared the pivots you've taken in your life. And you probably went, I'm such a freaking loser. Like, I'm sure I had this figured out, but allow yourself that space. These two people really do care, and they're reminding you not to give up. They see who you are, they see where you are, and they see what you bring to the world. And the way we serve in our personal lives is also how we're hoping to serve the people that we run into in our business lives, right? Because we want to be genuine. And that's why when Lindsay says you share what you're doing, and we all know Dirk, who follows her social, that's her dog. We're bonded to your social life. We care about you as a person. So then when you tell us something and try and nudge us out, we really should have a book launch, man. Like, you should really be proud that you published a book. I'm more apt to trust her and take her word for it. And here we are. Okay, I already mentioned about adding the extra family if you wanted to, or other important people. These people in your life that you welcome in and that you allow, the ones that fill you, they want to acknowledge how amazing you are and all that you've accomplished. And one of the hardest things I've ever heard, and I'm guilty of it because I was doing it too, is you talk to somebody and they say, I have this business I want to do. So just like Tiana said, if you even have something that you could teach, consider that is knowledge that others don't have, that you could share. And I've heard people say, I'm just a mother. I was a stay-at-home mom. And yet I found ways to teach and to share. Maybe you're a volunteer. All of our ways of helping and connecting and serving other people aren't all about making money. What we are building is a community of caring and loving and supportive women, however you do it. And it came to mind when you were talking about the courses, and that's why I asked the question, because there are things that you as a mother or as a volunteer or you fill in the blanks that you do, that you've learned, that you could then share with other people and help them. So don't write off the value that you hold in your other roles, because they are very significant. They bring a lot of value to the world. And I really struggled with that imposter syndrome where, what do? Just a mom. Can anybody relate to that? When we celebrate our accomplishments, we get in that squeamish zone, right? You feel like you're vain. I can't write. So I write, I wrote a book, I do this, and we downplay it. And who was just telling me, is it you, Shannon? Tiana? Who just said they were at an event, and they were, oh, you were nervous, I know, you went into chapters. Yes, that's what it was, sorry. I just heard the story and I'm like, I gotta fit that in. She went in and she was nervous about that, and she shared that with somebody and said, oh my God, I'm just so excited, but I was nervous. And by the way, her book is gonna be in chapters, as Lindsay's is too. And she was so excited and she shared this with somebody and they went, wait a minute, you wrote a book? Well, yeah, but that's not what no, wait a minute, you wrote a book? And we downplay what we've done. And we do that in many ways. Like a book is just one thing, but what you've accomplished, you maybe don't even give yourself credit for. So go ahead and get cringy and share that with people. And you will impact lives that way. You coming from a place that isn't so empty will also help you make better choices in what's best for you. So when you hit a bump, when you hit a wall, so when I did that, when I showed up to that meeting, I was like, wait a minute, is this serving me? Have I put in all this effort and maybe I could have used my time and my effort in a better way? So it'll help you decide how to manage better. I have one more little analogy and then I'll be done. This is GPS systems, Google Maps. You've all used them, I'm assuming. You know how they work. I want to get to point B from point A. What do, I plug in the address of point B and I just let Google figure it out, right? So I don't know the route. I'm just going to trust. But is that all I'm going to do is just trust? I'm just going to plug that in, I'm going to sit in my car and go, I'm not getting any further. You're going to have to put it in gear, you're going to have to steer, you're going to have to follow the traffic rules, you're going to have to figure it out and get there. So there's two things you have to do. You need to figure out where at least you'd like to aim, just like Shannon shared. She figured something where she wanted to be, and then she put that in her plan. Then she took action. So that's the driving part. So pick a destination at least to get started. Anything, just pick something and get started. And if along the road you're like, oh, that path looks interesting, I'm going to take that one. Recalculating, right? Google figures it out. And maybe you've decided halfway there that there's somewhere else that you'd like to go. How many of you beat yourselves up because you think you owe somebody an explanation? You're, what? Now you're going to do this? I thought you were going to do that. Nope, I just changed my mind. So there are times, Dawn's not, there are times when we beat ourselves up thinking it's a give up. It's a pivot, it's a change, it's a nudge. You hit a bump, you turn it into a wall, and really it's just a little recalculation, right? So trust the process, take some action, scary action, just do it. Who decides what you want and how you get there? Is it your mother-in-law? Is it your boss? Is it the world? The world tells us, be yourself, but not like that, right? You decide. You don't owe anyone an explanation, you don't owe anyone a brave face, and you don't owe anyone superhuman strength. Now I'm going to get you all to do something. And you put the words in you want to use, but I'm going to use the F-bomb because I love that word so much. We're going to all cheer. You can just give me a hell yeah if you prefer, but we're going to say, I fucking decide. 1, 2, 3.
I fucking decide.
Thank you. Now, follow your instincts. Be aware of your masks, learn from them. Don't give up on what you want most, even on bumpy roads. Allow yourself to adjust without guilt. Acknowledge and celebrate your wins, big and small. And I have to say, my biggest win, I'm going to embarrass her, but one of my biggest wins in my entire life, the thing I'm most proud of, is my daughter and her brother. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for being vulnerable with me, for playing along. Every single one of you is a very capable, amazing success. Trust your instincts. You can make shit happen. Thank you.
Does anyone have any takeaways or questions or aha moments for Deena?
Yeah, I have something every time. It reminded me of my therapist that said you don't owe anybody any kind of explanation, but she had you don't owe anybody anything other than yourself. So it's kind of the like you owe yourself to take care of yourself, and you don't owe anybody else anything.
Thanks for sharing that.
Does anybody else?
My suggestion, can you please bring Kleenex?
Yeah, tissue warnings.
No, a tissue warning, or maybe we can, for your logo, a little tissue pack, because you were awesome.
Yeah.
It's very, thanks.
Thanks, you.
Oh no.
I'm not hiding in the bathroom when doing your speech. I'm here for it.
I did tell her where the bathroom was, so she needed to slip out of the
in case I
mirror.
need to leave the room. I'm really proud of you. I had an opportunity to read this book before I came to the conference today, and I just wanted to share how she shows me, obviously during her speeches, how proud she is of me and my brother, but I also want to reciprocate that. In public, she knows, but I'm just going to say that you are one of my best teachers in life, and it's really cool to see you speaking to others about what you've learned. And sorry guys. And yeah, I'm really proud to be here to support you, and I hope I can show you that support for everything that you're taking on. It's incredible what you've been through in the last 5 or 6 years, and I've been here for the ride and the ups and downs, and and yeah, I'm always one of your biggest cheerleaders.
I appreciate that. Thanks a lot.
Woo!
Yay!
Did you bring tissue?
I didn't bring tissues. I'm sorry. Hold on. I got my husband in here.
My book is more of a guidebook. Yes, it's full of a lot of blogs and my own personal stories to help prompt you along this path. I also have a companion journal that gives you even more space and more prompts if you're interested. You can work with me one-on-one. Yes.
I just want to say thank you for the analogy of my young girl and my future girl, and that they will not